To Death Valley, to North America's tattered gash, to strewn boulders and cloud-stirring peaks, to palms and sand dunes and beds without lakes, to gouged canyons and steady inclines, waterless plateaus and abandoned castles, to highways and tourists and spiders and scorpions, to the sun, blank as a wall. To oases bristling with nudists and RV antenna. To tea kettles and washboards, telescopes and payphones, to flash floods and disconnect, to visions clear of cataracts, to dreams, to hallucinations, to Death Valley, my dusty muse, my hot exhaling oracle. Death Valley, I'm coming. Death Valley, here I come. Part 2. You cannot hold an opposite in your head. Otherwise, I would tell you Death Valley is the opposite of a pear. The opposite of inside flesh, tender, amniotic. Death Valley is not those things, but now those things are what you think of. So take that pear and bite into its coolness. Let your teeth slip through its milky meat, soft as a sheaf of petals. And hold it on your tongue. Press it against your gums. And notice that your mouth is dry as talc. What you thought was a pear is sawdust and paper mache. Its resin stings, bitter as burnt bread. In your throat, the invented pear is stuck. You choke on cinders and slivers, scratchy as fish bones. You breathe in ash, kicking mud within the tissues of your lungs. Death Valley is the opposite of a pear. Can you understand that? Death Valley is a bell without a clapper. You step inside it, and your heartbeats make it ring. It is a resonant shell, a definition of an absence, the low point of a hemisphere. Death Valley's currency is time, which is the currency of life. But time there perpetually hyperinflates. So it takes 2 handcarts full of hours to do one thing, to think one thought, to utter a single simple word. Birth, for instance, would take forever, moving slow enough to seem dead still. Death Valley is the opposite of love, which is nothing. Nothing is the opposite of love. Therefore, Death Valley is nothing. Therefore, nothing is Death Valley. If you love Death Valley, then it is nothing that you love, and nothing loves you back. But you cannot hold an opposite in your heart. Part 3. In Death Valley, there is a ghost town called Darwin. It is an origin of sorts, where miners came to take out silver to withdraw old lead. Old lean-tos hang on sun-stricken frames. The road has gone to seed, and that's a tough place to go in a desert, in a place with so few seeds. Rabbits run amid rusted-out chassis, and the wind peels shingles from rooftops like paper labels from empty bottles. But sharing quarters with Darwin's ghosts are about 50 living residents, legal and otherwise. Poets, musicians, retired lifeguards, escape artists of many kinds. David Reese is none of these. He was born there, fair and square, has called Darwin home his entire life. Talk to him, and you'll hear his slur. You'll see his stubby fingers, you'll watch him sway, stout-bodied and grizzled, and wonder what it takes to erode a man like that. The yard around his trailer is a rockhound's mother lode. Old ores, sample cores, gemstones and geodes, and crystalline scraps are arrayed on tables cobbled together from marble slabs. The man's obsessed with stones. In his yard, among the gems and faded natural ice beer cans, there's a stone the size of an industrial dryer that looks like it's made of compacted skin. Veined with orange and red and white, and lustrous in the morning sun, it's set upon its own blanket. Marbled agate, David says. Found it 1,000 feet up a hillside, embedded in a seam of black basalt. It's a dramatic stone, magnetic as a runway model. Guy in China purchased it from me. I'm finishing it for him now. How'd you get it here? See that wireframe trailer out front? The one with the winch? But first I had to free it from the mountain and roll it down 1,000 feet. He tilts his NASCAR number 5 hat, adjusts the brim. So how'd you get it from the mountain? Carrot seeds and water. Dakota legend had it that by planting seeds in the thinnest crack, a man could split the earth. Picture the water wetting dark seeds. Picture strenuous roots fingering down between the black basalt and the moon-colored agate. Picture those roots growing fat against the stone's hard shoulder. After 6 weeks of scrambling up and down the 1,000-foot slope, watering can in hand, David extracted the stone with a pry bar and tumbled it to his trailer. Now, here on his patio, in the ghost town of Darwin, the agate seems like a whale taken from the sea. It's a mighty stone from a massive mountain. How is it possible that such little things as carrot seeds could loose it from its place? And how many big things do we let go of, like dreams and plans and wild howling hopes? How many times have the little things taken root and swollen and crowded the big things out?